Hey guys, and welcome to an epic Total War Warhammer 3 Domination showdown. I'm a rubber duck of war leading the mighty forces of Kislev up against Darv Plays, who's bringing Grand Cathay and Zhao Ming to the battlefield. Now, this battle may seem a bit familiar in a way, because my last video was played between these two factions on this very map, but different opponents today, and some different styles of play to boot as well. Very excited to delve into this, so let's look at my build. And we have, once again, the mighty mobile start for Kislev. Couple units of winged lancers, fantastic anti-infantry, not too good against large threats, I have come to realize, but still, double winged lancers is a decent start, able to run over a lot of the infantry of Cathay, get in the back line and shut down pesky crossbowmen. We do have a double light war sleds in the center. I used heavy war sleds last game, light war sleds a little bit quicker, a little bit less durable however, and a little bit less armor, but also come in quite cheap. And look at them go, the badass bears. Honestly, the animations on the bears are probably my favorite animations in Warhammer in general. It is awesome to see these guys ride to battle. Once again, we're coming with the Warbear riders led by the mighty Kislev in the front, coming in on his custom Warbear. I love the red shield shoulder blades there. Kislev, very powerful all round. He is coming in today with a couple of useful abilities. We have the Lullaby, which does replenish hit points of himself and nearby homies. We have Tor's Battle Hymn as well, which is quite nice to boot. And that is about it. I think we have a couple of the passives as well to replenish hit points, and the Courage of Sacrifice, increasing that leadership and melee defense. He should also be coming in with the Brazier Mace himself, which just gives him a little bit better damage output there. So really fun build all around to be looking to rush into the middle as quickly as possible and flood some infantry to the main fight. My opponent Darv today is going for a bit more of a classical approach to warfare. Load of spears in the front, halberds and crossbowmen, and Cathay can certainly pull this off really well. You can see they all currently have the harmony of the yin and yang up here in the top, giving them extra melee defense and leadership, extra reload skill and leadership as well to those crossbowmen in the back. So we have peasant long spearmen making up the main battle line, sandwiching in between them a unit of Jade warriors with halberds, 2 units of Jade warrior crossbowmen in the back, decent amount of long range armor piercing. They're going to be rather scary to my war sleds as well as my great bears. We have an alchemist in the front, something we haven't seen too much of whatsoever yet. She looks freaking awesome. She basically does earthbending from Avatar. It is great. She's coming in today with, it looks like, just on her own. This is interesting. I guess her main play is just to amplify the harmony as much as possible. And leading the battle line, we have Zhao Ming, the Iron Dragon, who is freaking legendary. So he won't have the healing possibilities, of course, of his sister. But this is something Darv was trying out to counter polar bears. We saw how good the polar bear calves were in the last game. But today he has the transformation of the dragon, of course, Dragon's Breath, and Final Transmutation. That old classic spell rearing its ugly head in game 3 here. So we also have a couple of spearmen on this flank. Without further ado, let's get this battle underway. And I felt pretty bad on the last replay. I was like, I failed the great bear god of Kislev. We had that glorious close defeat in fairness for Kislev, but we're like, hey, we're gonna be back in this and we're ready for war. Light war sled's gonna be darting forward, looking to poke down the enemy. I'm actually hoping I can get some good old shots into the Jade warriors and maybe stay out of range of the Jade warrior crossbowmen. So we're gonna be mobile and moving forward there into the center to try to do a little bit of poke damage there. Kislev is leading the Warbear riders up to the left here, just trying to stay out of the main fight there. There's no real good targets for me. I was really expecting double Terracotta Sentinel, and I've had great success with this style build against them. You poke them down with light war sleds and then jump them with the Warbears and Kislev buffing the Warbears, and they shred Terracotta Sentinels in seconds. Now, the Jade Warriors are unleashing a few volleys, nothing too crazy here, but then my opponent does a ridiculously big brain play move and summons a Grand Cannon, and the Grand Cannon hurts so badly when it hits, so it does unleash a few shots down there. Luckily, I don't take too much damage yet. I myself have started to summon some armored Corsairs to the battlefield. I really want to start applying a bit of pressure to this central point, and I know I can't do it with my cavalry. There's simply too many spears and too many halberds around the battlefield, and that Grand Cannon is really going to be putting a bit of a timer on me to get me to move quickly. We have some winged lancers just staring down. It does double peasant long spearmen up here, so we don't really want to engage with them. The cannon doth sing once again, unleashing its fiery fury upon my beautiful light war sleds, exploding one and taking them down to about half HP. I'm like, right, my warbears are being under threatened. My light war sleds are also under attack. I need to just bomb rush in here and at least get some value. These are only peasants. Come on, man. So Kislev does charge it directly in. We can see the alchemist trying to support, but in come the warbear riders as well, clattering it into the front, doing some massive damage. damage there, and the War Sleds also pushing through into the backs. The Wing Lancers have indeed arrived in the central fight as well. I'm trying to overwhelm one flank as quickly as possible, and the War Sleds using their mass to hunt down the crossbowmen with such good efficiency, and they're doing some massive damage here to the Jade Warriors. We do have our Armored Corsairs nearly here. The Great Cannon is really hunting down my cavalry, though, and doing some big damage, unfortunately, to the Warbear Riders as well as Kostaltine here. The Light War Slaves doing a decent job, though, just bouncing around between the Jade Warriors, but in comes that final transmutation, and look at the Warbear Riders' health. They're getting healed at the moment as well, and it just disappears so quickly. I was like, no, my mighty bears, hold firm, and they are just getting slaughtered. Cannon shots also ripping through my battle lines, and this is the biggest disaster I could possibly have had to the start of this battle. Kostaltine still fighting strong. We do have some of the Light War Sleds still active, but our Polar Bear Cav, our Wing Lancers, they never stood a chance up against the might of the Dragon Lord himself, Zhao Ming there. Warbear Riders are basically done for now. Down to just 460 HP. They can easily be back. Peasant Longspearman isolated and alone, and we did manage to beat off the Alchemist and break some of the Jade Warriors, but it's just too much pressure. With the cannon coming in, plus the final transmutation, it's been a disaster, and this map in particular really does kind of incentivize this big middle fight, this big kind of gluttony war in the middle where everyone just wants to keep pouring troops in. So I'm trying to think, how on earth do I get back into this? Well, I'm trying to save Kostaltine as much as possible. The Armored Corsairs have arrived. They will do absolutely fine up against the Peasants as well as the Jade Warrior Halberd units, and I am moving in as well with the Tsar Guard. Now, Tsar Guard are fantastic. Not only do they fight, you know, super hard anti-infantry, they don't even bleed blood. They bleed pure badass and Kislev. We do have a lovely little push in the back. The Light War Sleds hopping on top of the Grand Cannon, trying to take it down. We do have a Longmarch Rider, though, being summoned in. I'd like to see them go whip around, actually, and shut down the War Sleds, because Peasant Longspearmen, they're going to take a little while to do it, though they have managed to force me off, at least for now. On capture point 3, we have some Armored Corsairs just vibing and sitting there. My opponent does only have a unit of Peasant Longspearmen on his one, so it is really about this big grind fight in the middle so far. Wing Lancers lower their Lancers and charge once more valiantly into the Halberds. I don't want to stick in that fight too long, so we're going to instantly bounce back and start recharging other elements where we can, and in come the Tsar Guard. So we have managed to arrive there. We get flattened and chucked back, but we stand up once more for the motherland and Kislev. We shall fight, slashing with our mighty greatswords into Longmarch Riders. This one's doing some dance moves, trying to support the other units, who unfortunately are getting cut to ribbons right now. You can see the Longmarch Riders, the longer they stay in the fight, the worse it gets for them, and Kostaltine has arrived as well. Kostaltine, I should say, buffing up nearby troops. We are about to lose the Armored Corsairs, though, in the middle. The middle victory point has been claimed by my opponent, and he's starting to take a dominant position in the lead here. So what can I do? Well, I summon forth the mighty Snow Leopard. Now, the Snow Leopard is a fantastic utility piece for the forces of Kislev. It is disgustingly fast with 100 speed. It can capture objective points, and it's anti-large armor piercing. I absolutely love this little kind of... It's almost like a small version of a Manticore, right? It's like a tiny single entity on foot, but it is very speedy, and it does hit relatively hard. Now, we are starting to hold back the middle. That Great Cannon is still unleashing shots in, hitting some friendly troops as well, which isn't too bad for me, but you can see the Armored Corsairs are really starting to feel the might here of the mighty cannon. The Tsar Guard fighting strong. They're currently on fire, which, you know, no one really wants to be on fire, but if anything, it's only going to scare the peasants even more as we do start carving our way into them, though the victory point is still being dominated by Grand Cathay, and we have even more Halberds as well as Jade Warriors starting to pour in. It looks like he has abandoned objective point 1, though, which is pretty good news for me. I have summoned in some Light War Sleds once more. We still have the Armored Corsairs up here on our objective at number 3, and some more being poured into the middle. I have to try and gain at this middle objective. Now, our Lord's still alive, which is pretty impressive work by him. The White War Sleds as well do start to pour in here and just try to push their way through. They're using that mighty polar bear mass to drive into the heart of the enemy. And I'm going to push all the way through and start jumping on top of Jade Warrior crossbowmen if I can. That looks like I actually swooped back and around and kind of doing some Tokyo Drift dance moves there on the floor. We are starting to capture the center point, just as I said that we start to not capture it again, because the Tsar Guard are really carving their way through the enemy, but the Dragon Breath comes in, and oh, it looks like it did some weird... Maybe he cancelled the spell there. Interesting stuff. Maybe wanted to do a different one. Kostaltine is being forced off. But now comes the sneaky Snow Leopard plays, and this is one of the reasons I love the Snow Leopards. The middle fight's not going too well. We're losing a lot of troops. We are sending in more Wing Lancers. The objective 3 is pretty secure, so I'm just going to sneak off with the Snow Leopard. He is stupidly rapid. I'm just going to float over to objective 1 and start to claim it. He will bound across the snowy plains in no time whatsoever. Look at those moves as he floats over and stalks the objective point number 1. We know Peasant Long Spearmen who might be able to come over and support. Likewise, Constantine will probably be able to rally and come back into the fight, you would hope. War Slaves are doing a decent job just pushing through the mass infantry time and time again, but it's still looking pretty bleak with more Jade Warriors starting to come in, and Zhao Ming is finally gonna become the Iron Dragon. Love the animations. He swoops into battle, a nice little cheeky roar. He looks ferocious, and popping down on top of my horseman is probably going to be a decent fight for him. The Armored Corsairs are trying their best. We get that big Dragon Breath attack come down the line. The Winged Lancers really struggling here. I'm kind of being forced to push them into this meat grinder to try to support the Armored Corsairs, and it's just simply not going well. Luckily for us, our Lord is on the warpath, jumping on some Jade Warriors, and in the back, the War Sleds as well, doing a decent job distracting the Jade Warriors and trying to shut them down where possible. We do bring a Frost Maiden to the battlefield, and she's coming in with some pretty useful spells. So I brought her in really late into the game. You can see my opponent's already halfway to the objective cap, but this means I've saved up a bucket tons of Winds of Magic. It no longer is capped at the 30 mark there, and this is a Frost Maiden of Tempest. We're coming in with Hailstorm, a medium strike area, think Searing Doom style, as well as a Blizzard, which is a large explosion, and we have so many enemy infantry, right? My opponent has been funding this infantry corps because I've been sending so much cavalry in, and now's the time to strike back. So we're going to be dropping a Blizzard down, taking out some of the peasant longbowmen. We see the Jade Warriors as well, and we bring down the storm upon them, smashing into the Jade Warriors, doing big juicy damage there as Constantine does ride in. But he's under a lot of pressure from that Grand Cannon, which I've just not been able to pit out so far, and it's done a lot of damage to us. Wing Lancers moving in, and the Armored Corsairs shall rally to the might of Constantine and the Frost Maiden. Up here on the high ground, we are able to capture objective 1. My opponent's yet to realize this, and then we do the sneaky play. We hide the Snow Leopard in the nearby trees. You can see that little tooltip there saying it's hidden. If my opponent captures it again, I'm simply going to pop out once he leaves and jump on it with the Leopard. The Griffin Legion does arrive. They may not be as badass as the Winged Lancers, though they are a bit more of a powerful and elite unit. They're going to be charging forward to try to get into the central capture point, because now that I have this Frost Maiden, I'm a lot less scared of halberd and spear units, so our cavalry can really shine. Cannon's trying to finish off Constantine. He is buffing up all nearby melee attack at the moment, which is quite nice. See the Frost Maidens even getting down here in combat, beating back Jade Warriors and doing a decent job. And now I've forced my opponent off the objective, beating back his infantry corps. The Wing Lancers can just reave through these crossbowmen in the back and start shutting them down. There's no peasants to save you anymore. Where's your Dragon Lord? Citizens of Cathay, turn to the light and support the mighty bear god. Jade Warrior is still a bit of a problem, so I'm going to be summoning more and more spells upon them, doing some really lovely damage. My god, that is a powerful spell. Loving that in action. Pretty cool animation as well, just ripping up those Jade Warriors as we start to claim the central objective. I'm force pathing the Griffin Legion past Zhao Ming at the right moment, just to try and hop on and capture this as quickly as possible, because my opponent still has a 1,000 ticket lead to the victory point. He's still yet to notice objective 1. It looks like he's finally figured it out though, and Jade Lancers shall be summoned to go claim it. Objective 3 has been mined all day. There's been zero pressure on it, but there are armored Corsairs here. And I mean, why did Cathay need pressure? You know, they were winning that mid-fight and had their home objective looking rather strong. Big rev attack was a little bit too little too late there, as the Griffin Legion had already moved out of the way for the most part, though they're taking some big damage now from that cannon. That damage value on that fin is going to be absolutely ridiculous at the end of this battle. In the middle, we do have the Frost Maiden and Constantine here. I'm moving in the Griffin Legion just to ensure we can cap this right now. Oh my god. For some reason, since the last patch, some Cathay units have started to bug texture-wise. They are aware of it and are fixing it for the next patch, but the big dragons unfortunately do bug out a little bit texture-wise. Luckily, it doesn't actually stop the game. So the Griffin Legion are going to turn in and start to surround Zhao Ming, try to drag him down. He's going to try to snipe my lord here, Constantine. Let's risk a push forward. Big cannon shots are coming in. We are fighting in all of the name of Kislev as much as possible. Constantine, hold the line. I believe in you, and so does the mighty bear god. But it looks like he's starting to struggle. Griffin Legion are getting plus 40 melee attack here, and they are ripping this dragon to shreds. My god. We also have some dervishes coming in there, the light cavalry, slamming in to Zhao Ming, and he's in a lot of troubles. It seems like our lord has somehow escaped. Jade Lancers are starting to swoop in, and my opponent is now capturing objective 1. We are very close to taking the lead, though. We still have held 2 objectives for a very long time. It looks like we're going to see yet another nasty final transmutation coming in. I'm trying to counteract it with my own magic, but Constantine, he is certainly done for now. Down to 34 HP, bringing in both the spells here from the Ice Maiden, just raining Tempest magic down on these Jade Lancers, as well as the Jade Warriors doing some big damage here. And in come the Armored Corsairs, in come the Dervishes, and once again the Light War Sleds being brought into action. It does look like there's some Peasant Longbowmen, or not Longbowmen, Long Spearmen I should say, coming in here. But once again, we are kind of tearing apart and holding that central objective in the name of Kislev. My opponent is still yet to cap this objective. It's taking him quite a time because he only has a small amount of peasants in here. So I'm going to do a pretty nasty trick in a minute. We're starting to lose the middle fight, but I am ahead now on tickets and very close to victory. In the middle fight, we are starting to lose. There's just so much enemy infantry, and I'm pouring in cavalry, pouring in armored corsairs, pouring in light war sleds. I don't care if my units die right now. I need to hold this because I'm looking a little rough army-wise compared to my opponent, and just as my opponent's about to cap this, I jump in with the Snow Leopard, really wasting as much time as possible and making my opponent think he had an opportunity to capture this objective, so he didn't send more troops here, and we have actually saved it. The mighty Snow Leopard, it doesn't bleed blood, it bleeds pure awesomeness, and Kislev, like the rest of the faction, he stalks amongst the peasant long spearmen who flee for their life. We're about to lose the middle objective. We've basically lost our entire army. We have a few bits of cavalry left and a few armored corsairs holding it down, but we have 2 of the objectives, and that is going to be a sweet victory there for Kislev. I feel so bad for this unit of armored corsairs. They just stood on top of this ridge all day long and had to watch their people suffer and die, and that's something about Kislev. They know how to suffer for a victory, probably more so than any other faction. I've been able to finish a game with basically just strags left, almost no units, but I've held in there and managed to claim victory. They're so fun and thematic. Probably my favorite unit thematically in the game. It's hard to say. I've been a big fan of pretty much all the factions so far. I've been enjoying experimenting and playing around with them, but certainly Kislev, there's something to be said about their awesomeness. Well played to Darth Plays. He's a fantastic content creator himself. Definitely go check out his channel. He's got games up there already on early access as well for Warhammer 3, including some games against me. He had a really cool one which I was going to cast. I believe it was Cathay versus Khorne, but then I saw him cast. I was like, you know what? I'll do a different one instead. So I saved this one for Kislev. Well played to Zhao Ming. He was a big pain in the butt. 3,000 damage value on the dot. The man knows what he wants there. 101 kills on him. That final transmutation, yeah, my Warbear riders did not do good at all. 240 value. It's so sad. But we were able to hold in there, mainly thanks to this glorious Snow Leopard. Only 143 damage dealt, but that doesn't matter at all. Or damage value there, sorry, because he claimed the objective at the crucial moment, which ended up making me win the game. So I will delve through all the damage dealt and damage value of all these units in just a second. My god, that Grand Cannon is insane. But before we get there, if you guys enjoyed this video, make sure to leave a big fat juicy thumbs up. Subscribe as well to the channel for more content into the future. We've probably got one last Warhammer 2 stream in us at some point, but apart from that, I'm just going to be covering Warhammer 3 all the way up to release, and then, you know, just forever on, hopefully, as long as the game is still enjoyable for me. I will still be casting it and pinning stuff up, so feel free to subscribe, to stick around, and enjoy the journey. Feel free to comment down below what you thought of the battle. I've been really enjoying interacting with you guys in the comment section. I've never been this hyped for multiplayer in my life, so it's really been good fun to see all the enthusiasm from all you guys. What was your favourite unit? What was your favourite moment of the battle? Let me know down below, or simply yell a quack of support. All those friends really help out the channel. Also, links in the description to Twitch, Patreon, Discord. Discord, you submit replays to me, get involved in live streams and tournaments, and Twitch has been dormant for a couple of months now, since before Christmas. But once, actually before this game drops, actually, I'm going to be streaming regularly on Twitch, Warhammer 3 content. So, you know, feel free to go over there and get ready for that. So back to the battle. I can't hold it in any longer. The damage dealt, damage value. I'm just going to go over the Grand Cannon first. So let's go Grand Cathay first. The Grand Cannon, 67 kills, 3,260 damage value is absurd. It is just disgusting how much value this thing got. And I think artillery could be pretty good against Kislev because they got relatively swift cavalry, but no flyers to go and just float over and really annoy the enemy cav, or artillery, I should say. So I think, yeah, cannons could be really good up against Kislev. So lovely play by Darth bringing that bad boy in. As for the rest of his reinforcements, I don't think he got the Celestial Vanguard in there. We did get the Longmar Riders, which was nice. 844 value on them. Jade Lancers did a decent job just harassing. And the Crossbowmen, some came in and supported. 750 value isn't too shabby. 1,103 damage value on a unit of reinforcement Jade Warriors is very impressive. 839 on this unit of 122 kills is very good. As far as his main army goes, Zhao Ming was a real standout. I think he's going to be a lot more niche than his sister for Cathay. I think she tends to be better with her ability to heal, of course. Being a single entity and healing himself is quite nice. But Zhao Ming does certainly have his standout moments, and I think against Kislev, he can be very scary if you don't want to fight the double terracotta style because bears are so good against them. You bring him, you nuke the enemy bears, it is really quite nasty. Crossbowman got 435 and 499 value, 1,500 on the Jade Warrior Halberds is nice. We did have this lovely little Astromancer, who I must have missed in the early stages. 586 value on him, 116 on the other heroes. They didn't perform too well. 800 value, 1,775 value, 620 and 332 on the Peasant Longspear. Remember, though, these guys would have been summoned multiple times to get that value, but still very impressive stuff because I was so just having to flood the middle with cavalry just to contest. It was struggling to get my infantry up and running. As for my enforcers, Kostaltine, 67 kills, 750 damage value, just survived. That was his aim of the game today, and he managed to do it for a very long time here. 240 in the Warbears is a sad day for sure. The light war sleds are such an awesome, powerful unit. I love war sleds so much. 89 kills and 181 kills, 1,000 damage value, 1,700. You can counter these guys with cavalry. Don't get me wrong, they're very, very powerful. Probably the best unit on Kislev's roster, I would say. At least at the moment, it's hard to say, obviously. There is no real meta at the moment, as there's only a handful of people playing the game right now in a handful of styles. But I do think they're a big standout, at least early on here, for Kislev. You can surround them with cavalry and drag them down. I've had it with Flesh Hounds as well, are quite good against them, but the light war sleds, if left unattended, will just reap bloody havoc. 780 value on the Wing Lancers, 112 kills and 448 kills, not too bad. As for our reinforcements, the Griffin Legion were just a nice sturdy unit to bring in the mid game there. 800 value is not shabby, considering they were mainly fighting halberds and just darts around the battlefield. The Frost Maiden was so clutch, coming in with the 1,296 damage value. Most people seem to bring Ice Magic. I think Ice Magic probably is a bit better than Tempest Magic, but it certainly has its place here. Clearing out the enemy infantry and allowing the cavalry to thrive was quite a nice play in the middle. It allowed me to hold that objective far longer than I should have been able to, and because of that I was able to win the game, because you saw at the end I was really beat up here. So 84 kills, and she did really good coming in there and helping out. The Tsar Guard, 122 kills, 1,147 damage gold value. They were so badass, just getting in there, wielding their mighty blades, and being a nice strong staple in the middle. And a load of great weapons as well. 179, 256 damage value on them. We've already been over the Snow Leopard, but 21 kills and 143 value. And some of the infantry did okay. Nothing too crazy, to be honest. All these guys were just there to cap objectives. Hope you guys enjoyed that one. It was a bucket ton of fun to play and a bucket ton of fun to cast as well. I will have more Kislev later in the week. My next video probably won't feature Kislev, just to give you guys a bit of a break from the Kislev content, and we'll go back to Kislev the battle after, I'm sure. I should be dropping a video pretty much every day, or at least a video or a stream. So until next time, guys, peace, and as always, stay awesome.